Okay, all right. Shall we start? Okay, let me just take this out. Hey, Carla, how are you? Yan. Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our first before bedtime get together. So I am Goda from Beyond Kilik team, and with me is Carla.
Good
Okay.
evening, everyone.
Okay.
Flashback muna to our Beyond, Kwentuhang Beyond Kilig days.
Yeah, last year, nakakamiss na yun. That's why I was like, okay, I think we should have again this year, but this time under TOB Tuesdays, just to have some variety. So yeah, Carla, baka you'd want to talk about TOB Tuesdays, like, what it is, how it started.
Okay, so TOB Chooses is basically something that we do in Beyond Kilig. So every Tuesday, weekly siya. Every Tuesday, mga 9 p.m., we meet up. We watch videos to learn more about TOB. So everybody's welcome. Usually, the ones who are attending now already have some sort of background about TOB. But okay lang din naman kahit na wala pa, we welcome everyone. So if you're interested, you might want to join our community, TOB Tuesdays, every 9 p.m. We meet via
Yeah.
Zoom.
So yeah, we usually meet via Zoom except for once a month we'll be having our get-togethers just like this. So tonight is our very first get-together. So when it comes to get-togethers, this will be live in our FB page or in our TOB, sorry, in our Facebook group, our TOB community, and also in YouTube. So yeah, but the rest will be doing that in Zoom. So basically what happens there just stays there. But basically it's yeah, watching together the TOB video, and then there's some discussion that comes after. Then aside from watching videos, hopefully we'll also be having a variety. Every now and then we'll be watching some movies and like talking about them after, like what's it like to critique them based on the TOB lens. So there again, this community is mainly for learning the principles of life and love related to theology of the body, learning it together as a community. So there. So for tonight we have our guest. Um, yeah.
So Francis Lee is a registered guidance counselor and a licensed professional teacher. He has been with Parif Southridge since 2011, where he worked as a teacher, as a mentor, as a counselor, and now the head of the guidance department. Apart from his full-time work, he also receives clients in his private practice at Familiaris Counseling Center. He is also a guest lecturer at the San Carlos Graduate School of Theology, where he co founded the certificate program on marriage and family education. Francis is also taking up his PhD in psychology, specializing in clinical psychology at De La Salle University, Manila. So let's welcome Francis Lee. Hi, Francis.
Okay.
Hi, good evening. Good
Hello.
evening, Carla. Good evening, Guada. How are you?
Hello. We're good. Nice to have you here, even if it's evening and nighttime.
Oo
So
nga,
yeah.
pajama night, pantulog night.
Din nyo dyan.
Yeah, hence the dim light. So
Yeah,
yeah, I guess
yeah,
this is the feels in our TOB Tuesdays, like right before
yeah.
sleeping at 9 p.m. So yeah. Okay, so first and foremost, I mean, invited here because I know that you're an educator, teaching senior high school boys theology of the body. So
Yeah,
first
yeah.
and foremost, I'd like to know, like, how did you, ended up teaching them?
It's
How
a,
did
Actually,
you
it's
how
end
did
up
you
a,
teaching?
even like,
Yeah.
get into TOB in general, di
Yes.
ba?
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So, ganito, I'll start with a bit of background. So, I teach religion in this all-boys school here in Muntinlupa. And I used to teach grade 8 religion. And grade 8 religion is actually like a hodgepodge of many topics in religion about our faith, from doctrine, from the creed to morals to church history, and things like that. Now, at one point, the grade 10 teacher, but no, we reshuffled. So I was invited to actually teach in grade 10. Then while I was looking at the curriculum of grade 10 religion, it was one full year of church history. And I said, my gosh, one full year of church history for grade 10 students. Imagine, I like church, I like history. I appreciate the church history, but for one year, my gosh. So I made the proposal to the subject development officer of the school and the academics office and said, can we compress church history to one term? Because we work in terms. So there are 3 terms in a school year. So the first term will be church history is the longest. Then we'll have Catholic social teachings for the second term. Because I think students have to also learn social doctrine of the church. And at the third term is marriage and family education, or the theology of marriage. In Athena is Theo 13, I think. And then while I was crafting on the curriculum of the third term, which is marriage and family, then I said, parang there is something more interesting than just talking about marriage and family. No? Why not talk about theology of the body? Because of course it's been there, but it's not like the whole church has to teach it. It doesn't work like that. So when I thought about that, I said, uh, I have to now read the books available for TOB, because theology of marriage, of course, there are already existing documents on them, cousins, but TOB itself, it's not an official church document, so you have to study it. So what I did was I got this first book by Christopher West, Theology of the Body for Beginners. So I read that book, and then I got so into it. Then Father Joel Hasson, together with I think CFC, organized a two day um, lecture and a 2 day lecture on the theology of the body. So I said, okay, I'll join that. Then after joining that TOB sessions with Father Joel, those 2 days, I fell in love with it instantly, at an instant. Imagine talking
With
about
the feeling.
this
Love at
this
first sound.
beautiful thing about the body. Yeah. And then after that, I ended up also joining Tita Joy Katigbak's lectures on TOB. So I think that was 2 or 3 Saturdays in San Carlos. I joined that. And then whenever there are opportunities to listen on TOB lectures, I listen to them. And there's so much things you can actually get from it, that you fall in love with it every single day. And I suppose you, as TOB advocates, you also learn to fall in love with TOB.
And I think that's why
Yeah,
we're here tonight.
yeah,
We're all here. And
yeah,
thank you again for our viewers who are joining us.
yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Good evening
Yeah.
to everyone. So that's how it ended up. So since 2000 and I think 17 or 18, 17, I've been teaching TOB to grade 10 students. Why grade 10 specifically? Because it's like the middle part of adolescence where everything is so, it's the most rebellious period in a boy's life. Grade 10 is about 15, 16 years old. Imagine that is where all the hormones are raging and want to do so many things in life. And so far, I've enjoyed teaching. So I've taught it maybe for 4 years now, and I'm enjoying it. Yeah.
So like these things that you're teaching TOB to grade 10 students, it's like the first time that they're hearing stuff like this, or like even earlier on, like they have some form of
Yeah.
prep for it, or yeah.
The first 2 batches of the grade 10 students that I taught heard TOB for the first time. Then the next 2 batches actually heard it for the second time, because they had TOB in grade 8 now. So our
Oh.
curriculum in the school, we have TOB in grade 8, which is also in one term, and then TOB for grade 10. The focus of TOB grade 8 is to get to know oneself. TOB grade 10, the focus is becoming a gift to others. So
Wow.
in grade 8, you get to know yourself more as an adolescent boy. And then in grade 10, now I know myself. How can I give myself to another person? Yeah, so that's the main objective of TOB grade 10.
So what has your journey been like teaching it? I mean, like what are your, difficulties encountered and
Mhm.
challenges, and of course the joys as well.
For the first time, of course, first time teaching it is like every first topic we teach and we talk about, there's always that kabay, di ba? Like, you constantly pray and ask for guidance. Lord, how do I teach this? Mother Mary, how do I say this? What words should I choose so that these boys won't fall asleep in my class? Because to be honest, religion, it's not the most exciting subject, especially for boys. A teenage boy. It's not
Mm.
the most exciting subject. So there's always a constant question in my, like, how do I make this interesting to these young men? What are the things that they should talk about? What are the things that how should I deliver this? So the biggest struggle I encountered actually was the kind of words to choose and to know where they're coming from, the context of these young people, the context of these teenagers. So what I had to do was I had to dive into where they were. I had to watch the series they watch in Netflix, in Amazon Prime, in um, HBO Go. I had to watch them. Imagine, so I had to watch what maybe the most famous at that time was Sex Education. I watched that. I watched Riverdale. I watched Euphoria, and
Mm.
many other series that made me scandalize us adults. I mean, it may scandalize us, but it's their world. So I had to learn where they're coming from. And once I got into that, like I was slowly understanding those stories. I said, "Shucks, this is the kind of world they're living in. This is the natural thing around them. It's like this is what they're talking about among
So
their
what is
friends."
it? Yeah, I'm curious
Yeah,
about your findings. I mean, if you can
yeah,
expound more on that. I mean,
yeah,
I myself sometimes get hesitant to kind of watch certain movies like that because
yeah,
of what
yeah,
you
yeah,
hear,
yeah,
right? So
yeah, yeah.
knowing
Yeah,
that's
to be honest, it was not easy. Yes, it was not easy to convince myself na panoorin mo yan kasi imagine all these probably videos, series, shows, they're morally not upright. Eh. And but
That's what you're exposed to. Isn't
wow.
it
that's what they're
alarming?
exposed to.
It is
Eh.
a bit disturbing actually. So yeah, we have
Yeah,
to be able to catch them there and
yeah,
also relate to them
yeah,
there. Tell them let them know the truth, right? So
yeah, yeah.
go ahead, Francis. Enlighten
Yeah.
us more
So
about
when I started talking about the TOB to them, I of course you have to begin TOB by telling them about exciting stuff about the human person, what a human person is. So I normally start my lecture on the unity of life. So I talk about. Have you heard of Instagram and Finsta? Have you heard of that?
I know Instagram. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
Finsta is a fake Instagram. So like there are people who have two accounts. One is a
ah,
Finsta account.
okay. Mm,
One is a main account. The
uh-huh.
Finsta is where they can post stuff that their parents and their other people should not see. So I begin with that and said, and then they would react, "Oh, how does he know that?" Oh, you have to know, right? And then after that, you talk about the unity of life, let's say of characters in different shows, in different movies, and then they begin to wonder, like, oh, nga no, these characters, they become the way we see them, the way we experience watching them, that's how the way we live at times, and we don't recognize that. And from there, I draw out the experience of these young boys and talk to them about it, like as if I'm not. It has to be natural to me as well. I have to make it natural, so that they won't think that, oh, this teacher is just trying to be like us so that he can talk to us and say no. But I always work on the concept, or on the concept or the framework of the Holy Father, Pope Francis, that we have to accompany them from where they are.
That's true.
So we have to be immersed in their world. And that's where friendship can be established. That's where uh, dialogue can work. And even if it's not easy, if it especially at the beginning it was not very easy, you have no choice but to go there. Yeah,
Galing. Kasi nga naman, no, like how will you know what also you have to catch and what you have to, like, misconceptions that you have to correct when you don't even know. So, ang next question ko, I'm curious about what were parang some of the biggest misconceptions that you've had to correct, because I'm guessing like people who like also are interested in TOB probably are also maybe accompanying like younger people also around them,
yeah, yeah,
and they want to talk to them about TOB. Like, what's one of the parang major misconceptions that you've had
yeah.
to tackle?
Yeah.
Mhm.
The biggest misconception about TOB, at least, is that it's only for those who understand theology or the doctrine really well. And one of the things I tell at least my students, so TOB is for all. Whether you're smart or not so smart, whether you are holy, like prayerful, you're not prayerful, whether you're Catholic or not, it's for all. The nice thing about TOB, at least what as I explain it to my classes, it doesn't talk about religion as a pedestal. Like it's something that we can all attain. It's a
Mhm.
constant struggle to find that truth in the heart of the human person. And I think that's how it works. Like, at the end of the day, it's about authenticity in TOB. And TOB is just about that, about the human person being authentic. And the most exciting part of it, at least in my experience dealing with these young men, is that imagine finding God through your own through your own body.
Mm.
Yeah, then the first time you hear about that, shocks, paano yun? How do you do that? Right? So when you begin to ask those questions to these teenagers, they also begin to reflect. There was one boy, I remember asking this because at the end of each class I asked him, so how are you feeling right now? And I'm a counselor by profession, so I have to ask, like, so how do you feel about this conversation? How do you feel about this topic? There was just one boy, and I will never forget this boy. He said, "Sir, it's like you opening a door, like opening a door and then touching the heart, like toot, something like that." Yeah,
Ah,
Looks so cute.
yeah,
ang galing. But yeah, I mean, like, when I think about like how I felt when TOB was first introduced to
yeah,
me, parang ganun din eh, na parang there's just something about it that when you read it or when people introduce it to you, you just know that it's right. Like
yes,
all of
yes,
the experiences that you've lived so far and all of the I don't know, like the wisdom that you've gathered so
yeah,
far.
yeah,
To me, at least, it all started to be like pieced together and all started to make sense.
yeah,
Kaya
yeah,
parang like after knowing about TOB, like it's a truth that you just cannot, I don't know, like
Can't
cannot
live
not,
without.
oo,
yeah.
not be, na parang, yeah, ganda naman. Ano
It's
Yeah.
naman yung,
overwhelming. It's actually overwhelming at the start.
ano
Yeah.
yung usual na concerns nila, the senior high school boys? Like,
Actually, I teach
TOB
grade 10,
related
not
to
senior high
they
school.
would.
So grade 10. That's before senior high school.
Mhm.
Of course, the biggest concern there is on a personal level all the time. Like, who am I? What is my purpose in the world? Where do I belong? How do I deal with people? How do I deal with the opposite sex? It's a soiree year.
Mm.
Um, and of course they're so excited to meeting girls, so excited to meeting new people outside the school, talking about, like, how do you talk to a girl the right way? Should you call a girl this way or that way? And one of the things I start with, one of the struggles they have, at least in the conversations with these young men, is that how do you respond to a girl when she messages you? Because the way I describe it to them, imagine the first time you talk to a girl, that the prettiest girl you've ever seen in your entire life sending you a message, and then uh you see you said hi to her, and then in messenger, let's say, delivered, and then your heart beats faster than normal, then scene, dug, 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 dug. That's how I describe it. And they say that's where they do also their experience, and they start pointing at each other. You feel like that, your my friend feels like that, sir. And you see the three dots moving, and then waiting for her reply, and then once she replies, what do you do next? What do you say? You start to overthink things like that. So you know um, compared to girls mature faster than boys. Developmentally speaking, they mature faster than boys, and they're less awkward dealing with the opposite sex compared to guys. For us at 16, whether we like it or not, we still like video games. Talk about video games. Talk about sports, stuff like that. I'm not saying that girls don't talk about them. Girls talk about them, but it's just that on a more mature level, they can talk about many things. The girls, but the boys, um, it's just psychologically, developmentally, they're in that state. So you have to allow them to be boys at the same time, mature in that situation. Yeah. Most of the comments I received from my students and my former students that after going through the TOB program in one term, like they felt more mature at the end. Yeah, at least. And said, "Oh my gosh, thanks be to God."
Can you
Yeah.
like transition from, like boys to, I don't know, the
Yeah,
transition to like manhood? I'm not sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
I hope. Sorry, what was that? God, there was
Is it pretty much like a transition from boys to manhood, like the start of it? I mean,
the transition.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
introducing to them these TOB concepts and all that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, to me, at least transitioning to adulthood or being an older adolescent, I tell this to them. Like when you talk of, let's say, original innocence, original, um, and then all these terms, like all these terms. To me, yes, it's good that they know these terms, they know these concepts, but at the end of the day, I don't care if they forget about the terms, but they should not forget that at the end of the day, that they're a human person and they
Mm.
deserve all the dignity and respect the world could give. And they have to give the utmost respect to others because we're all human beings at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So, hearing that, one would realize, I think, at least among them, that, oo nga, no, I don't have to be the most prayerful person to grow as a man. We need to be men.
Mhm.
You don't have to be very, very prayerful to be a good man. You don't have to be the most polite, the conduct awardee to be called a good man. But just understanding that you're a person, that you're a human person, and that every person deserves all the love and respect the world could give. That is enough, and that makes him better men. Yeah,
No, I think that those are very good words. I mean, I don't think it's just applicable to the boys, but I think to everyone, to each and every one of us.
yeah,
Mm.
Yeah, very practical. Okay. So, yeah, Francis, I mean more of like, okay, what keeps you inspired and, liking what you're doing? You said you've taught it like more than a year now, like for how many years? So, yeah, like is there anything that's different each year or like, yeah, what keeps you going?
yeah. Okay, I'll answer that in two ways. The first one is the what makes me happy about it, and the other one is the real reason why I like teaching it. Again, what makes me happy about it and laugh about is that you seeing the boys' reactions to the things we talk about in TOB. With many taboo things like talk about sex, talk about pornography with them. Talk about these concepts on love, languages, the language of the body. Um, the way they react in class, like, whoa, did he just say that? Those are the small things that make you laugh and enjoy teaching it. Okay, but the real truth is, I enjoy teaching it because if there is anything probably in the world that people should not forget, is that we're all human beings and we have to be able to give ourselves totally at one point to someone, maybe to the church for others, because that's the only way we have. I mean, you can go into your profession, yes, but how do you want to live that profession? You're still a human person, and I think that keeps me going because you have to see how it forms the way we think of society. Yeah,
Yeah.
pardon me for the word. Really, I'm really sorry for the word for all those who are watching the show. But one of the things I tell the students is, how uh, effed up our society is.
Mm,
At one point, di ba? You give it
yeah.
that perspective to them, and from there they say, "Oh, shucks."
So what?
Yeah,
I mean, like they're able to realize and pinpoint like
yeah,
why it is like that, what's so wrong about it,
yeah,
why is
yeah,
it effed up and stuff. So
yeah, yeah,
okay, that's good to know that they're
yeah,
pretty much aware. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's just a bit scary that sometimes their minds are pretty much sponges, right? So
Correct.
not sure
Yes.
how they kind of filter these things. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I mean it's not just for kids or boys at that age, but
Yeah.
also as they get older, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we have some comments here. Yeah, okay, so I'll just share this from Chance about TOB and being a gift, all about giving ourselves to the church or someone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Someone also asked, please give top 3 to 5 points or advice for teachers of TOB to senior high school students.
That is going to be very, very tricky because the advantage, okay, one of the advantages I have is that I'm a man and I'm dealing with boys. You know,
Mhm.
like you can have man-to-man conversations with them that that probably girls want you to talk to them about. Probably that female teachers want you to talk to them about. That's an advantage I have. But uh, for female teachers, it should not stop you from talking about the beauty of the human sexuality. You know, so top three things. What top three things can I give teachers? Number one, do not be scared to use the words that have to be that we need to use in TOB. Talk about sexuality. Talk about maybe mention the word sex. Don't be scared to use that term. Uh, don't be scared to use the word pornography in front of the students. Don't be scared to use the words that we don't want to talk about inside our homes, like homosexuality, maybe LGBT, maybe. Don't be scared to use them. Okay. Number two, because you're not scared to use them, then you have to prepare your heart to whatever questions that the students will ask from you, because they're very curious. And the teenagers, they have so many things in mind, and we have to be open to the questions that they're going to ask. So when they ask us questions, we should not be scandalized to those questions. We should not be like, why are you asking that? Or you're a Catholic, you should not be asking that. No. So allow them to ask those questions, and let's not be scared to listen to those questions and answer the questions with genuineness, with calm, with compassion, with being a friend to them. And the third thing is, know where your students are, their own personal circumstances, know their contexts. As what I told you a while ago, I had to dive into where they were, because if not, I won't be relevant to them. They have to see that TOB, that faith itself is relevant to them. And I remember this, past story. I remember this priest who gave us a retreat when I was in college. And he said, ang pagmamahal ng Diyos ay personal. Personalan lagi. It's
Mm.
not like a universal love, no. It's a personal love for each and every person. And that's TOB. It's a personal love between God and man. And as TOB teachers, we have to be able to allow them to see that love individually on a personal level. So when they ask even the most scandalizing question in the world, we should be open, laugh with them, be sad with them if they're sad, and just listen to those questions. Yeah,
Okay.
Sobrang ganda na sinabi mo na ano, personal magmahal yung Diyos. Kasi
yeah,
I remember, that's one of the things also that I said the last um, crash landing on TOB, the crash course
yeah,
that I gave. Parang, I heard it din kasi in a homily and I really had to share it. Kasi sabi ko, you also have to realize na the priest was telling na if God loves each of us uniquely, then it also means that we also have to love other people. Di ba? Kasi the way
yeah,
Christ loves
yeah,
us. So parang we also have this unique nga love that we have to give to the world.
yeah,
So yeah, there will be people who will benefit from that kind of love that only we can give. And
yeah,
if you put that also in the context of relationships, there will
yeah,
always be that one person who will be best loved only by you.
yeah,
Wait,
yeah,
can I add something to that? Okay, so this is super random because I just literally read it in the doormat of like some resort or whatsoever. Like I saw there, um, wait, I hope I get it right, huh? Um, to the world, you can just be. someone, but to someone you can be the world. Something to that effect.
Oh.
So parang yun yung explanation
Or
daw
something
ng
with
love.
doormat.
And it was
Oh.
from a freaking doormat. And I was just like, I don't understand. I was like, what's sweet? Love is ganito, ganyan. And then pagdating ko, sa doormat lang yun.
Unexpected place to gain
Yeah.
wisdom. A doormat.
So there, minsan yun yung impact. Sometimes we wouldn't know what's our impact on other people's
Yeah.
lives. So,
Mhm.
yeah,
Okay,
and then
there may be ibang question.
May nag-comment yata, Guada, sabi niya, nakakakilig naman yung personal love between God and man.
Yeah.
Totoo yun, nakakakilig. Imagine, mahal ka ng, may nagmamahal sa'yo.
Mhm. I was
Personal
just
na pagmamahal.
I was also just sharing to my friend just this morning. We were just having this random
Yeah.
chatting via Messenger, and I was telling him, while I was like looking back at how I eventually came to have like a deeper relationship with God, like my relationship with God kind of followed the same trajectory as how my husband pursued me. Na it was a long, like we were friends for a long time, and parang ang tagal ko to trust and to fully commit. And, a long time coming siya. Tapos parang ganun din si God na tama, na meron, like for some people, it could be just like one retreat and then their conversion story is just so fast. And then there are people like me na parang ang tagal-tagal college pa lang, I started na. But parang it's just like, chillax lang, ganyan, until yun na nga. Parang one day you get something like TOB and it just like blows your mind and makes you fall in love with God so much more deeply, I guess. If that's the proper way to say it.
Yeah.
yeah. Another thing, like for me to ask, no, like how do you know that these boys, like when you teach them TOP, how do you know that they were able to gain something from it to really like practice it, or the impact of it later on in their lives? I mean, have you had any stories? Do you have stories to share about that? No, na okay, helpful to, or if not, okay, something that they needed later on, or something to that
Yeah.
effect.
Maybe I'll give two ideas on that. Number one, is there anything measurable that can say that they
Mhm.
actually learned from TOP? The answer is no. We will never know. I will never know if it affected them or not. But what is nice is if you hear the stories of the older boys, like at least those who went through the program of TOB, like when they're caught in a situation, they all of a sudden remember, shucks, I think I know this. I think I understand what's happening. Um, and there was this boy one time. There was this boy. So he was with his girlfriend, and they were having a day and things like that. And he remembered what I told them. I told the class. At the end of each class, by the way, at the end of all the classes we had, I tell them, I don't care if you forget many of the things I told you. Okay, but there is one thing I'm gonna promise you. Really, I'm gonna promise you that if I die one day, and if you do anything wrong with a girl, I'm gonna haunt you from my grave. Yeah. And you know what this boy said? So he was with his girlfriend. They're having a date, and then I think he was about to kiss her. Then all of a sudden he said, "Sir, I saw you in my head."
Like, oh, this is just really funny, Francis.
But I think it's like that, no? You will not, parang, you can never assure that they will
Yeah,
100% be
yeah,
saints
yeah,
afterwards. But
yeah,
at the very least, mapapaisip sila. And
yeah.
malalaman nila when they're doing something wrong.
Yes, yes.
And I think that's enough. Because at the end of the day,
Yeah,
God gave us free will. So
yeah,
we can really choose whatever we want to do.
yeah, yeah,
Just yung pag-form ng conscience,
yeah,
I think,
yeah, yeah,
Well, I think it's just similar to the planting the seeds, right? I know
yeah.
before we had like a show called planting the seeds
would be
of
the
love.
joy. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That was also a
I
nice.
think it can go a long
So
way.
if you haven't yet, you might want to watch reruns.
Replay.
Tuhang Bayon Kilig. They're found in our Facebook page. Talagang
Facebook
nag-promote
page.
bigla.
I think Just check YouTube. I think it's faster for our
Oh,
viewers to check it out
yeah,
in
it's on
YouTube.
YouTube. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, just search Beyond Kilig, then you'll find your videos there. Yeah. Okay. So there, Francis, I think like there's a lot of stories that you'd want to, that you've experienced or gone through. Baka there's others you'd want to share pa with us.
Um, you know, every person, kasi at least all the students that they've dealt with, all of them have their own stories. And uh, as a counselor, one of the things I share with my patients, I share with the people around me, that every person has a story, and every story is a beautiful story. And every beautiful story is worth sharing. And coming from that framework, that's where I draw the concept, the theology of the body to everyone. Like, this is your personal story. This is your personal life. And the ones I deal with, they see that. The young people we're dealing with now, it's all about me, myself, I, what I want, what I feel, what I do, what I care about. It's always me having this passion. Then how do you deal with that passion? How do you feel with those things? So, um, and I actually do something bad, like not even bad illegally, but in our school we have to record our classes. We have to record our classes because so that the students can rewatch them in case they miss the class. But I requested for, I don't know, maybe this is for public viewing, no, delicado pala if I say it.
Wag na lang, wag
No,
na lang.
but what I do is I make sure that whatever is shared with the public, like in the classes, the recordings, that the personal stories of the boys
Of
are taken
course.
out.
Mhm.
Okay. So the recordings are just normally excerpts, clips of the classes. So um, of course you have to post the whole thing, but I allow the people, or allow the students to share their personal experience without judgment among the classmates. And we have a deal that even if it was online, whatever we talk about here in class stays here and it dies here. Because
Yeah,
um POB is a personal experience,
exactly.
and
Yeah.
you have to make it personal, eh. Yeah,
I think a lot of things are also very sensitive. That's why it's also a
correct.
bit tricky to teach and
Yeah,
also
yeah,
to have public to put in public and all that.
yeah,
So there.
yeah. So
Ever, no, I was
sige,
gonna
sige.
ask, ever ka ba, like, cause I know that you say na, like, you have to be calm and you have to be composed and you have to be like very like merciful and compassionate when you they
Yeah.
give you questions. But was there ever a time like deep inside medyo na skandalo ka sa mga na-share nila and stuff? And how did you deal with it?
Um, that's a very interesting question. Probably if I wasn't a counselor, I would have been scandalized.
Mm.
I think there's an advantage of being a listener. Being a counselor, there's an advantage. Like a boy, maybe a 16-year-old boy telling you, "Sir, I've had sex with my girlfriend." Let's say hypothetically, okay, hypothetically, someone tells you that. Probably as a teacher, I would say, "What? Really? How did that happen? What did you do?" Right? But as a counselor, at least if a question similar to that comes to me, and then the boy shares it, saying, "Oh, really? How was it?" You just allow the person to just keep on express that you have to make the person feel that you're not judging the person. Eh. So when the boy let's say replies na, "Oh, it was scary at first, but it happened," he's like that. "Oh, really? Can you describe to me how it was triggered, how it led you to that?" Just allow the
You
person.
process it with them.
They process it with him. Then allow the person, allow the student, at least the young person, to realize that you're interested in him, not in what he did, not in what he has in mind, but what in him as a human person.
Ang
Yeah.
ganda niyan. Ang
I think
ganda
it's a
niyan.
very good insight, no? Uh-oh.
Mhm.
Yeah.
A lot of the time we tend to, especially now, di ba, in cancel culture, like it's
Yeah,
really
yeah,
based
yeah.
on what people did. Pag they do something, wala, canceled na agad,
Yeah, yeah,
ganyan.
yeah. Right, right,
There
right.
are people, they have stories, they have reasons for
Yeah,
doing things,
yeah,
and sometimes it pays to just listen and mean to hear
yeah,
them out, di ba? To
yeah,
what led to that.
Speaking of
Ganda.
cancel culture, I just plug in if that's okay.
Yes, go ahead.
Sure.
Yeah, last week I was interviewed in Radio Veritas on cancel culture. If you guys want to watch it, it's available in YouTube in the Facebook page of Radio Veritas.
Okay.
Um,
Sige, we'll
that was
watch it.
Tuesday of last week morning. Yeah, and about cancel culture also. Um, I actually tell this to my students. Teaching TOB, you have to prepare to get canceled
Mm.
because it's very unpopular to probably many especially those who are radical feminists, those who are um, maybe going through some difficulties in their sexuality, struggles with their sexuality. It's not very popular. So, if I get canceled because of TOP, I'll be very excited for that to happen. Of course, it's
Mm.
scary, but it's also exciting. But please don't cancel me yet.
Not until
yeah,
you're done with the
yeah,
semester or something.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
What's your favorite TOB topic to teach? Like specific topic.
Ah, specific topic. Um, I enjoy teaching original nakedness. Yeah. It's one of the questions I ask the students is, have you ever seen yourself naked in front of a mirror, head to toe? I think you see everyone's reactions to that. And then have you ever observed why you have all those parts in your body, like from your head to your arms to your legs and to every single thing, right? So being naked, and what do you do? Like when someone like maybe sees you naked, you get ashamed, right? Why? It's that question that you ask them, like, why are you ashamed of your body if someone sees you naked? But how come a married person is not scared to show himself or herself naked to his or her spouse? What's the difference? And they begin to wonder. They begin to ask. Oh,
Ganda.
nga,
I think
no.
that's a very good opening, Francis.
Yeah,
Galing. Yeah.
yeah,
Very thought provoking.
yeah, yeah. I try to. One of the things it's a popular probably among teachers. Like you have to look for the trigger points, and press those trigger points. And you should not be scared pressing on those trigger points. Yeah,
Parang magaling ka nga.
I think we need to, Carla, we're learning some strategies. We need to rethink about, trigger points as well
yeah.
when we deliver TOB.
It's very
We need to
probably
learn.
it's an
We'll
popular
learn from
approach.
you.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
don't think Tita Joy, if you're watching this, I don't think she will agree with me or anyone else teaching there. But that's how I do it. At least and it's effective for the students. Yeah,
I think for specifically for senior high school, and I mean that
yeah,
age group, especially given the kind of society,
yeah,
um,
yeah,
and the yeah, diba, yung parang like
yeah,
the values that are espoused to them. I
yeah,
think asking questions, asking thought-provoking
yeah,
questions, it's more effective than really just trying to make them accept
yes, yes.
truths.
Mm-hmm.
Diba? Kasi also the trust that they will be able to arrive at the truths on their own
Yeah, yeah,
if they
Yeah.
continue thinking, 'di ba?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
kasi kaya eh, 'di ba?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, kaya maabot 'yon. You just have
At
to
saka ano
really
that's already their world. So if we talk about them, um, why should we be scared to talk about them if that's already the world they're living in? That means if they're exposed to that, right? So let's be where they are. Yeah,
Yeah. There's no reason for, yeah, this just what the topic you mentioned, naked
yeah,
without shame. It's like really not to be ashamed of
yeah,
anything anymore at this
yeah,
point
yeah,
because
Mhm.
that's where you meet them. That's what they need to know.
yeah.
How about the boys? So far, ano yung parang topic that's most
Uh,
um benta to
hot
them?
topic.
Is it
Hot
I don't know
topic.
if there's. I don't know if I was not watching
like
this. I hope you're watching. I really don't know what their favorite topics are or their favorite topic is. I really don't know. Because when you teach TOB, at least the way they say it is, so it's always overwhelming at the end of every class. It's like at the end of each lesson, at the end of each class, not lesson, at the end of each class, like the 1 hour class, they have to be quiet and reflect on all the things. It's like it's always like you have to allow everything to sink in. So at least based on the reactions, based on the comments I receive from them, they don't have any particular topic of choice, a topic or favorite topic, but rather every topic in TOB, every lesson in TOB should be an experience to them. Unique, every topic is a unique experience. And I think if we do that, like more than particular topics, things like that, it becomes more natural for them. Like understanding TOB, talking about it. By the way, I remember one story of a parent. His parent is she I think she had three sons in Southridge, and I taught the second son TOP. And you know, one of the things she told me at the end of the school year, sir, you know what? Even if they don't know the concepts very well, you hear them talking about, hey, that's against TOB among their
Ang
friends.
galing!
Wow.
That's not TOB.
Wow.
Yeah, they just say that. Yeah,
Ganda. I know that you say that you keep on asking them questions, but
yeah.
have you ever had like boys coming up to you asking for life advice?
Wait,
Sorry,
sorry, can you
Carla.
say that again? I
Life
think you
advice, like you because I
ah
know that you like asking questions to them,
Yeah,
di ba, to make
life
them think.
advice.
But
yeah.
have they ever gone to you just to ask for advice, like life advice in general?
That's the fun thing teaching this subject. At the end of each class, the online classes we have, there's a 10-minute break for the next class. So what I do is I stay actually for that 10 minutes in the call with them. And some students actually stay and they talk, they share, they ask personal questions. And they really ask for life advice like, sir, what do I do with this? This is the situation. What do you think of the situation? But of course, me again, being a counselor, I don't give any life advice. Rather, I continue to ask, what are the circumstances now? Where are you right now? If you think about the pros and the cons of this situation, what can you do? And you have to allow them to process it. Because if I just give them life advice, but there's no such thing as a cookbook life advice. So it's a personal experience of people. So that's why they probably get frustrated at the end. Like they want to get a complete advice from me, but they just
They want an
can't.
answer.
I'm not
More
answering them. It's like,
questions lang si
But
sir.
they have to decide. They have to
yeah, you
decide
have to
for
decide. You have to
themselves.
decide.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a tactic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Francis, for sharing with us these tips about, how to go about it, how to make
Mm.
them think and process.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, which is, I think, very important these days. Okay.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, before we end, I'm not sure if there anything else, Carla, you'd like to ask, because of course we don't want to make
That
this show
Kahit
super long.
sunshine,
As well.
key na takeaway ko is really na parang iba talaga din mag-learn yung boys. Kasi syempre from the perspective of like a girl, like I learn differently, and then like with Francis sharing this, parang oo nga no, parang napapa-rethink din how I introduce TOB topics. Parang as someone who advocates for TOB, napaisip din talaga ako na parang yeah, maybe there are like more effective ways of handling certain topics, or like handling the classes, ganyan. And yes, I agree na TOB should involve, like teaching TOB should involve a lot of conversations, no, and
By the way,
discussion.
if I may add, God and Carla, it's not really easy to teach TOP.
It
There's
isn't,
no way to
yeah.
make it easy. Um, I tell the students, and even to myself, even at least those who teach TOB in their school, TOB is not just a concept. TOB is not just a relationship. It's a lifestyle. You have to live it because it has to be authentic.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't live it as TOB teachers, people will see, the young people will see that this guy talks about TOB yet he doesn't do that, right? So it has to be authentic. Yeah.
Yeah, that word is very uso these days, or I think for the young generation, being
Yeah.
authentic. Because, diba, I mean, you can be a person on screen, but you can also be different in real life. And similar to what you
Yeah.
said a while ago, right? Unity of life of the person.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's what appeals to them and
Wait,
makes it
may
more
comment
believable.
question. Do you have suggestions on how to make young men men more interested
Hmm.
to explore TOB?
Um,
How do
Very
you pitch
interesting
TOB
question.
to men specifically? Yeah.
Yeah,
To
here.
men that they may be
Yeah,
interested in
here.
TOB.
Like if they have no
Um,
idea what it is about, how do you pitch TOB to men so that they're more attracted to learn
to
it? Maybe.
TOB, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Maybe it's a matter of asking them the right questions and then pitch it to them with the right questions. Like for men, um, maybe you can ask like, do you want to understand how to be in a better relationship with a woman?
Mm.
Like, what is sex for you as a man? Right? Just go straight to the point. At least to men, with men, go straight to the point. Um, you want to be satisfied with sex, let's say. How do you do that? With that respect to the human body, right? I hope you're not scandalized with me, and I hope the audience is not also scandalized.
Of course
This is
not.
just how you. Kasi with men, it's very important to be direct to the point. I think,
That's true.
and you have to just ask the right question, and if you get them, allow them to hear what they want to hear first, then slowly incorporate the concepts of TOB without naming the concepts literally.
Mhm.
Like, now, how do you present original nakedness by not talking about original nakedness? How do you talk about original innocence without saying it's original innocence? Right? Maybe ask them, like, when you were a kid, or, okay, one of the things I ask when you talk about original innocence is, when was the first time that you got exposed to porn?
Mm.
Right? So people will say grade 5, grade 6, things like that. How were you before you got exposed to porn? Can you call yourself innocent before that? How was the experience of that innocence? And just ask those questions. You know, of course, being able to ask the right questions is also a challenge, but we can learn it. You can learn it.
Mm.
But for men, let's just go straight to the point. They will dive into it,
Mm.
and just be a friend to them. Yeah,
Sabi
Okay.
dito, no, not scandalized. Want to know how to make it relevant. But I think you covered it na
yeah,
naman eh. Na you make it
Yeah. Yeah.
relevant to
yeah,
them by really going into their world, di ba? And
yeah,
making them feel na you're someone that they can talk to and open up to without judgment. And
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah. I think it's building up that trust. Yeah.
Mm.
You won't be um like bringing up all these personal concerns as well if you don't really trust the person, right?
yeah, yeah.
So
That's true.
yeah. Okay, so for those who are live with us now, if you have any more questions, feel free to ask. We'll just accommodate maybe just one, one left if there's any more before we end our show for tonight.
Mm.
So yeah,
While we're waiting for the question, yung we
last
usually ask
one.
it na, kwentuhang beyond kilig, what's your favorite POV quote?
Ah yeah,
This, diba? All of our, what's your favorite POV quote?
it doesn't have to be verbatim, by the way. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
like saying it in your own words is fine.
You're asking me. I thought the audience.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, okay. My favorite TOB quote. The favorite TOB quote really. Uh, the thesis statement of TOB itself. That the body in itself can make what is invisible visible. The visible image and the reality of God, and it is a sign of God's love.
Mm.
It's not in verbatim, no, but that's the main concept. It's a thesis statement, I think.
Yeah.
And to me, if a person also remembers that, that's enough. Like, your body is the visible love of the invisible God to another person.
It's
Amen.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's like okay,
Yeah,
just pondering about it, thinking of it as well.
yeah,
Kasi even if you just reflect on that one thing, madami ka na makukuha. That's true.
yeah.
Galing.
It's actually deep, eh? That line from TOB, from the writings of John, or from the audience of John Paul. That's very deep, no? The body in itself is enough, something like that, to make
It's capable of
it's still
making visible.
invisible.
Yeah.
What is invisible? Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think at the core of it is really the dignity of the person.
Yeah, that's
It's
also
like
true.
the main
Yeah,
driver of all of our actions,
yeah,
basically, and how you're supposed to love, respond to love, and all that.
dapat ba mag-ano na ako? Comment below if you want, like, if we should
What?
ask Francis to teach us, or topic. What
Maybe
are
we should.
your questions?
Yeah, guys, feel free to comment your questions or just message us. Maybe one of these days we can have Francis give us a session to see how he teaches TOB, right? Yeah, let's see how he really
Ano naman
teaches
siya, hindi siya crash course. It's crash course on teaching TOB. TOB.
Ayan, ayan. Yes,
Yes,
please.
please.
Ayan, oh, meron na. Ayan, oh, ayan. Meron nagsabi. Ayan, I really enjoyed
Yeah.
this episode.
Thank
Okay,
you, Francis, for sharing your insights.
so thank
Thank you
you.
also. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us, everyone. So, yun, next month ulit, our next get together before bedtime get together again on Tuesdays. It's going to be a Tuesday at 9 p.m. So we'll just make announcements in our Facebook TOB community about when that's going to happen. But of
But
course,
next week we have another TOB Tuesday, so yeah,
yeah, but it's
we'll
going to
see.
be watching videos together. So yeah, just like what Francis said in his classes, it can be overwhelming. Well, us like when you watch a video, there's always a lot of lights that come out from it. Sometimes we'd still get overwhelmed or at least mind blown because they're like, "Wow, I did not see it in that way. I did not, think of it like in
Minsan
that
the
type."
day after once pinag-uusapan pa rin
Yeah,
namin in the Viber group na parang grabe, mind blown pa din ako sa what kunwari this priest discussed. Kasi
yeah,
we're currently on, we just finished Love and Responsibility, and we're currently on yung TOB ay na conference 2021, di ba?
yeah.
So the videos there. Tapos parang, ang nakakatawa kasi even sa Zoom, yung chat group, ang ingay-ingay kasi as the video goes, anong parang, OMG, who got that quote? Ganyan.
Yeah, it's actually fun, like learning it together. Because imagine if you're just like watching alone, right? Parang watch party style.
Uh-huh.
So ganun siya. Okay, so as usual, it's always like the hardest part to end the show. But yeah,
Oh.
thank you
Yeah.
everyone for joining us
Promise,
this evening.
Francis will come back. As to
Yeah,
what
okay. We just have to plan that. We'll
Yari,
have
parang ang
to
dami
question
ng
it.
comments
you
ko
have more
on and Carla, dami kasi sabi to teach the crash course on teaching to. Naku, kinakabahan ako. Yeah.
ano, more of
Okay.
Francis definitely in the coming
Yeah.
months. But as to that's when ano pa kasi ano to in demand si Francis. Medyo veritas.
Okay. All right. Thank you everyone again and good night.
Good
Thank
night.
you.